Good morning. The Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privilege of the floor will please retire to the gallery. The senators and all in attendance will please stand. We will be led in prayer by the Reverend Kenny Callahan of the Metropolitan Community Church of Richmond. Following the prayer, everyone will please remain standing, and we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
In whatever way is right for you.
By our Senate page, Sean Hadley of Manassas. And now, sir, it is your turn.
In whatever way is right for you, let us join our hearts and our minds together. Loving Creator of everything that is, we thank you for this amazing day. We celebrate your presence in our lives and in this chamber, bringing opportunities to care for and serve others, opportunities to bring your presence and love, your healing and compassion, opportunities to stand for justice, dignity, and grace, opportunities to ease pain and bring transforming love to all people. Open our hearts and minds to serve as one body, working together to make our state and world a better place. Lead us now, guide us, and work through us. We ask and claim these things in all of your many names, and in every single thing that is holy. We say together, Amen. Amen. And may it be so.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll. All those present, please vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam President. Senate Journal for Thursday, March the 3rd, 2022.
The senator from Roanoke County, Senator Sudeline, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 4.
Ayes 35, noes 4. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communications from the House of Delegates. Chair recognizes the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move we waive the reading of the communications from the House.
The question is, shall the reading of the communication be waived? All those in favor of waiving the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates will please record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 4.
Ayes 35, noes 4. The reading of the communication from the House of Delegates is waived. The clerk will now report any communications from the governor.
We do not have any, Madam President.
Now comes the time in the morning hour when we will hear about our guests in the gallery. What will happen is your senator will call on you, and please stand at that time. And after we hear about you, then we will applaud. And so with that, I now call on the senior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for 2 introductions.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. Today's invocation was given by the Reverend Kenny Callahan of Metropolitan Community Church of Richmond, where he has successfully transitioned the congregation to a thriving, growing mission-focused church. If he seems a little happy today, it's because in 2 months he will be marrying his partner of 6 years, and I think that joy is spilling out over us this morning, and I ask that we give him a warm welcome.
Good morning, Reverend. Thank you for coming, and thank you for what you do to help our community be a better place to live. And senators, let us give him the warm welcome of his Senate.
Madam President, I have a second one.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Joining us in the gallery today is the family of my seatmate, Pamela Mason, 13-year-old Taylor Ann Mason, and Holly Mason. Taylor Ann and Holly don't have school today, so they decided to come see what their dad is up to. Trouble, let me tell you that. Pam is the Chief Compliance Officer at William & Mary, but she has been married to my seatmate for 20 years. Yes. As his work wife of 5 years, let me just say his real wife is earning Saint points every single day, and I ask that you give her and Taylor and Holly a warm welcome.
We welcome you, family. Thank you for coming to watch your dad and your husband, and we promise he's in good hands, and we will take very good care of him, and thank you for giving him to us. And senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. The chair recognizes Senator Donovan, the senator from Hanover.
Good morning,
Enrico.
Good morning, both right now. Good morning, Madam President. I rise for the purposes of 2 introductions.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam President, I'm going to start with my intern for this session as we're all celebrating them as we come to a close. He is Tanner Brooks. He is on loan to us from oh dear God, Richmond, University of Richmond. Couldn't get it out there for a minute. And he's done such an amazing job. He came to us well prepared because he's studying philosophy, politics, economics, and law. Wants to go to law school after that, and he has caught the bug. He is so enthusiastic about doing what we're doing that he's going to come work in my Senate office this summer. So we're so excited and so grateful for his help that kept us running and on our toes because it's been really a busy session. So, Madam President, I hope that you and the body will thank Tanner Brooks for helping me so much this session.
Good morning again to you, Tanner. Thank you for coming, and thank you for helping the senator as her intern. As you can see, the work is certainly a lot, and we need help. We need help all the time, but in a good way, of course. So thank you for giving us your talents. And senators, let us give him the warm welcome of the Senate. And the senator still has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for another introduction.
The senator may continue.
In the gallery this morning is a friend of mine who has been so instrumental in me looking at education in ways that I never understood. She is what she calls herself a mom-advocate, and she has done incredible work to advocate for children in Virginia that have IEPs, that have not been having the experiences and the learning opportunities they should. And she was very much an integral part of the JLARC study 2 years ago that resulted in us changing how we work on IEPs and respond to parents in Virginia. So I hope, Madam President, you will give the warm welcome of the Senate to Candace Lucas, who joins us today.
Good morning, Ms. Lucas. Thank you for offering your talents to the study so that we can understand what needs to take place to ensure that our children are getting the education that they absolutely deserve and which is guaranteed to them by our Constitution. Thank you for lending yourself to that. And senators, let us give her the warm welcome of her Senate. Chair recognizes the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, members of the Senate, we're joined today by in the gallery the family of our page, or one of our pages, Elizabeth Bartos. Her parents, who are Monica and John Bartos, are here with two of her sisters, Margaret Bartos and Michaela Bartos. And I might add, Michaela was a page here in the 2020 session. And I would ask that you please extend to them a very warm welcome to the Senate of Virginia.
Good morning again to you, and thank you for giving us your daughter, and we are taking very good care of her. As your other daughter can tell you, that she has fun and exciting moments, and then we ask her to buckle down and do her work. So, yes, we're taking very good care of her. And senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Eben, the gentleman from Alexandria.
Thank you, Madam President. Rise for announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Yesterday was my approximately fifth almost annual page trivia contest, and we know that our pages are helpful, courteous, and kind, but they're also studious, observant, and smart. And I wanted to announce the winners and tell you some of the trivia that they were smart enough to know. We had 6 teams of pages. In third place was the Chief Kifa Hida team. Second place was the Vegans, and the winners were the Princess Ponies. And you may wonder, how did they win this contest? What did they have to know? Well, while the pages should all know the 3 ships that arrived in Jamestown, not every page knew that that the average salary, or the salary for a page in 1850 was $2 a day. They knew that Sarge Reynolds appointed the first female page in 1971. They knew our Virginia-born presidents. They knew most of our Virginia-born presidents. But we had a true-false section, and they got most of it right. They knew that Senator Bill Stanley did not work his way through law school as a stand-up comedian. Most of them knew that Senator Amanda Chase has her own radio show. They were wise enough to remember when I told them that WTOP News Radio once ran a news story that mistakenly described Senator Jeremy McPike as a page. And they also knew that Virginia is the only state that has an official bat, the big-eared bat. They knew Ms. Schar's home county, and they did not all know this, and this is important to some of the better-dressed senators, but the winning team, I believe, knew that Senator Louise Lucas is the only senator who's worn a different outfit each day this session. They were observant and remembered that there's only one senator who's a direct descendant of a 1600s-era Speaker of the House of Burgesses, being Senator Jennifer Boysko. And they knew the score of the basketball game, and they all knew where Thomas Jefferson went to college. So I just wanted to salute the winning teams. They've gotten their prizes, and I don't know if they're winners or losers, because the main team, we're taking them out to dinner next week. So we'll see if they can stump me with some questions by then. Thank you, Madam President.
Congratulations to the Princess Ponies. The chair now recognizes Senator Stewart, the gentleman from King George.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm asked for a request.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would ask the Journal please reflect that my seatmate, the senator from Fauquier, is away from the Capitol on pressing personal business.
The Journal will so reflect. Is there any other business to come for the morning hour? Hearing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Friday, March the 4th, 2022. Page 8. Unfinished business House. House Bill 525. The House has rejected the Senate substitute.
The chair recognizes Senator Lucas, gentlelady from Portsmouth.
Madam President, I move that the Senate insist on the Senate substitute and request a committee of conference.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes a gentlelady from northwestern Fairfax County, Senator Boysko.
Speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. If we were to put the HB 525 into conference, that would put it out of conformity to what we did with the Senate version, which is the hazing education bill known as Adams Law, SB 439. I would make the temporary. I would ask that we take it by temporarily so that we can have a conversation offline.
Without objection, House Bill 525, page 8, goes by temporarily.
House Bill 1043 the House has rejected the Senate amendment.
Chair.
And the Speaker ruled this amendment is not germane.
The chair calls on the senator from eastern Fairfax County, Senator Somerville.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have a parliamentary inquiry.
The senator may continue.
Madam President, it's my understanding that the LIS shows the matter not germane. The Speaker found the Senate amendment not to be germane, but they didn't really communicate it that way to us. And my question for Madam President would be, the practice of this chamber for the last at least 20 years, maybe 25 or more, has been when the Speaker finds an amendment not germane, that it's not properly before the body. And so I would ask Madam President whether this matter is properly before the body.
The Speaker recognizes Madam Clerk.
It is the custom, usage, and practice of the Senate when the Speaker rules a Senate amendment not germane that the Senate has determined that the bill is not properly before us.
The chair calls on the senator from James City County, Senator Norment.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the inquiry from the senator.
The senator may continue.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, at one point in time I knew a little bit about the rules of the Senate, but also have been a strict advocate of the tradition and usage and custom of the Senate. And I would say traditionally we have taken the approach, and I think it is the appropriate approach, that the bill is not appropriately before us.
If the senators would please take their seats. Not you, Senator, I'm sorry. You have a parliamentary inquiry. And as we have as we have heard, according to the custom and tradition, House Bill 1043 is not properly before the Senate. Therefore, the chair directs the clerk to return House Bill 1043 with its amendment to the House of Delegates.
Madam President, parliamentary inquiry.
Chair again recognizes Senator Somerville.
Thank you, Madam President. It's also my understanding, Madam President, that when the matter is found not before us, we don't communicate anything back because it's not before us. Is that also accurate, that we should not communicate anything back because it wasn't properly communicated to us to begin with?
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the senior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
I have a related parliamentary inquiry. Is this the time to bring it, or do you want to answer the senator from Fairfax first?
Let the Senate be at ease while we confer. The Senate will come back to order. The parliamentary inquiry was made by the gentleman from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Somerville. The answer to the gentleman's question is what I had said before, which is that the President of the Senate has ruled that HB 1043 is not properly before the Senate according to its rules and customs and traditions. And it will be directed that the clerk of the Senate will return them to the House of Delegates with that message. The clerk will now continue with the calendar.
House Bill 1191. The House has rejected the Senate substitute.
Chair recognizes the gentlelady from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that House Bill 1191 relating to the Marcus Alert System, that we insist on the Senate substitute and request a committee of conference.
The question is, shall the Senate insist on its substitute to House Bill 1191 and respectfully request a committee of conference on the bill? All those in favor of the motion, please record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The Senate insists on its amendment and requests a committee of conference on the bill.
House Bill 1282. The House has rejected the Senate amendment.
Chair calls on the gentleman from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards.
Madam President, I move that the Senate insists on its amendment and requests a committee of conference.
The question is, shall the Senate insist on its amendment and respectfully request a committee of conference on the bill? All those in favor of the motion, please record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The Senate insists on its amendment.
House Bill 421. We are awaiting House action on that and the following bill. Unfinished business Senate. Senate Bill 3 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Sudeline, the gentleman from Roanoke County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate concur with the House substitute with the recommendation that it be rejected. And then speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 3 is the legislation that we have to fix election night mirages, to make it clear what is happening in election returns. It's very important that we get this bill through. As you look, we were able to work here in our body. The senator from Bath, who at that time was the chair of privileges and elections, worked very well. Was very kind. We got it through on an agreement, and we did it in such a way so that there would not be problems for Fairfax County, where approximately 1 in 8 votes is cast, and where election night mirages can really undermine the entire process in the Commonwealth. So Fairfax County is a big reason why this bill's here before us, and it's very important that it be corrected. As you can see, we were able to get it through the body here, where every legislator that represents Fairfax County was comfortable with it. My friends on the other side amended it in such a way that I don't believe a single person from Fairfax County voted for it. We need to be able to get it done so that we actually achieve what we need to do. So it's very important that we reject the House substitute.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the House substitute be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The House substitute is rejected.
Senate Bill 49 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Favola, the gentlelady from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. With the recommendation that it be rejected, I move the House substitute be agreed to. And what happened is the House put their...
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. For a brief explanation about my motion, the House did put a substitute on the bill that passed out of the Senate, and the differences certainly can be negotiated. The House bill actually specifically identifies categories of missing adults that might be eligible for an Amber Alert. My bill is broader and talks about an umbrella definition of a missing adult. So I'm sure we'll be able to come to agreement, but at this moment, again, I renew my motion that we reject the substitute, and on that, I hope the body will agree with me. Thank you, Madam President.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the House substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The House substitute is rejected.
Senate Bill 68 has passed the House with amendment.
Chair recognizes again Senator Favola, gentlelady from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, with the recommendation that it be rejected, I move that the House amendment be agreed to. And speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. We are trying to come to an agreement on expanding the pool of foreign licensed teachers who would be eligible for a provisional license here in the Commonwealth. And we're going back and forth with different nomenclature at the moment. We have not quite gotten there. So with the hope that we will end up in a very good place to help the teacher pipeline, I renew my motion that we do reject the House substitute. Thank you.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the House amendment be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The House amendment is rejected.
Senate Bill 108 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Morrissey, the junior senator from Richmond.
Thank you, Madam President, and good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Madam President, with the recommendation that the House substitute be rejected, I now move the House substitute.
Yes, sir. With an explanation?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The House substitute changed it to a study. It is important that we notify the stakeholders and get their participation. So there's going to be a recommendation that I ask for a committee of conference.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the House substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 5, noes 34.
Ayes 5, noes 34. The House substitute is rejected.
Senate Bill 148 has passed the House with amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Norman, the gentleman from James City County.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the bill, I'd ask you to pass that by temporarily, please.
Without objection, Senate Bill 148 passes by temporarily.
Senate Bill 223 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator McPike, the gentleman from Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we concur with the House substitute in speaking to the motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The House substitute now puts it exactly in line with the House Bill 507 that we adopted the substitute in general laws last week. This is now lines up both of those bills, so both vehicles do align. The substitute removed provisions regarding pay for performance and its definition, instead allowing the NCAA rules to govern those provisions versus codifying that. So we thought it was better to allow the NCAA to determine the factors associated with it, Madam President, and move that we concur with the House substitute.
The question is, shall the House substitute be accepted? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The House substitute is accepted.
Senate Bill 291 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Dees, the gentleman from Bath.
Madam President, I move that the House substitute be agreed to. I'd like to speak to that.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, you will recall that this is a bill that has to do with the service of certain subpoenas by investigators for the Attorney for the Commonwealth or for the Indigent Defense Commission. The change that was made in the House would require investigators that are employed by the Attorney for the Commonwealth to be approved by the local sheriff. My understanding is everybody has signed off on this version of the bill.
The question is, shall the House substitute be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The House substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 342 has passed the House with amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Barker, the gentleman from Southern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President, and I move that we concur with the House amendments and speaking to them.
Senator has the floor.
They're just a couple of small amendments, and they make sure that the two options for the transit ridership incentive program known as TRIP will both be utilized. Those for regional service, affecting multiple jurisdictions, as well as those for low fares that will provide an incentive for people to take transit. With that, I would renew my motion to concur with the House amendments.
The question is, shall the House amendment be agreed to? Those in favor of agreeing will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The House amendments are agreed to.
Senate Bill 361 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from King George, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Madam President. With the recommendation that it be rejected, I would move we concur with the House substitute in speaking to that.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. This is the Senate companion of the Marcus Alert bill that the gentlelady from Portsmouth just discussed, the chair of Education and Health, and we need to reject this substitute to put these bills in conference, Madam President.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the House substitute be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The House substitute is rejected.
Senate Bill 371 is passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator McDougal, the gentleman from Hanover.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, could Senate Bill 371 go by for the day?
Without objection, Senate Bill 371 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 581 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Morrissey, the junior senator from Richmond.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, with the recommendation that the House substitute be rejected, I now move the House substitute and speaking to that measure.
Senator has the floor.
Once again, Madam President, the House requested that the matter be changed to a study. It's important that we make sure that the proper stakeholders are included, and we can do this by having a committee of conference. With that, again, with the recommendation that it be rejected, I move the House substitute.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the House substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The House substitute is rejected.
Senate Bill 622 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Favola, the gentlelady from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate concur with the House substitute. And speaking to that motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Gratefully, the House accepted the substitute that the Senate adopted 2 days ago on the recovery bill, the recovery residences bill. And I just will briefly make 3 points. The Senate removed zoning language. There's no reference to zoning language in the bill. We did establish some credentialing standards for the credentialing agencies that go out and actually monitor these homes. And we required a lot more information. We required that a lot more information be disclosed to prospective consumers or folks that might select recovery homes for their recovery process. With that, Madam President, I am ecstatic. I do hope the body chooses to concur with the House substitute. Thank you.
The question is, shall the House substitute be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The House substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 647 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Donovan, the gentlelady from Enrico.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we concur with the House substitute. It aligns this bill with
the senator has the floor.
Oh, pardon me, Madam President. This now aligns my version of the bill with the amendments we put in the House bill that we just approved yesterday.
The question is, shall the House substitute be accepted? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The House substitute is accepted.
Senate Bill 666 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes the senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we agree to the House substitute. Speak to the motion.
senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. This is Senate Bill 666, the sign of the apocalypse. It is the lost profits bill. It came out of here, and the House made a couple non-material changes. We reinstated some language just saying that lost profits and lost property claims will not be duplicative, which is already the case. And we also added language saying that any festivals, street closing for 7 days or less, like, for example, for a festival, will not be considered a taking, which it's not anyway, but again, I don't want to get into that. The bottom line is please accept the House substitute, and we'll move this bill along. Thank you.
The question is, shall the House substitute be accepted? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The House substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 729 has passed the House with the substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Ruff, the gentleman from Mecklenburg.
Thank you, Madam President. I would yield to my chief co-patron, the gentleman from Northern Chesapeake.
Chair recognizes the senator from Northern Chesapeake, Senator Spruill.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I request that we reject the substitute. Speak to that, Madam, please.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam President. 729, Madam President, was with my bill, Senate Bill 41. And there was some difference in the two bills, so what we did, we used the number 721, but information was from my bill on 41. So there was a little bit of difference between the two. So when it went to the House, then the House sent it back, and that 729, same as was with the House. So there are a few differences. We do agree that something has to happen. We're close there. Because we're not there yet, I'm asking that we would reject the substitute and put the bill into conference. I also move.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall Senate Bill 729 with its substitute from the House be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 5, noes 34.
Ayes 5, noes 34. The House substitute is rejected.
Senate Bill 139 has passed the House. The House has insisted on its amendments.
The chair recognizes Senator Edwards, the gentleman from Roanoke City.
Madam President, I move that we accede to the request for a committee of conference.
Question is, shall the Senate accede to the request for a committee of conference on Senate Bill 139? All in favor of the motion, please record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The Senate accedes to the request for a committee of conference.
Conference on the part of the Senate is named by the Chairman of Transportation, Senator Marsden, or Senators Edwards, Boysko, and Cosgrove. Senate Bill 324, the House insists on its substitute and requests a committee of conference.
Chair recognizes Senator McDougall, the gentleman from Hanover.
Madam President, move the Senate accede to the House request for a committee of conference.
The question is, shall the Senate accede to the request for a committee of conference on Senate Bill 324? All in favor of the motion, please record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The Senate accedes to the request.
Conferees on the part of the Senate as named by the Chair of General Laws and Technology, Senator Barker, or Senators Vogel, Eben, and Stewart. Are we going back?
I think we could.
Yeah.
Let's go forward.
On page 19, uncontested calendar, House bills on third reading.
Chair calls on Senator Saslaw, the senior senator from Fairfax County.
I didn't know we got here that quickly. Madam President, I move that all House bills on third reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 19 through 33, that's 1102 through House Bill 1358, be advanced to their final passage in a block after the adoption of any amendment thereto, and any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall House bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 19 through 33, House Bill 1102 through House Bill 1358, be placed upon their final passage in a block after the adoption of any amendments, with the understanding that any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is before us. It is agreed to. The bills are now in the block. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
House Bill 1102, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 315, reported from the Committee on Local Government.
Madam President.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Roanoke County rise?
To make a motion.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, I move that House Bill 315 come out of the block and by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 315 is out of the block and by for the day.
House Bill 1326. The committee substitute has been adopted by the Senate. House Bill 199, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 200, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 217, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Chair recognizes the gentlelady from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 238, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 270, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute, and from the Committee on Commerce and Labor, and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Chair recognizes Senator Barker, gentleman from Southern Fairfax.
Madam President, I move that we adopt the committee substitute from General Laws and Technology.
The question is, shall the substitute from General Laws and Technology be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 314, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 316, reported from the Committee on Transportation and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 383, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Harrell, the gentlelady from Northern Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 385, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Chair again recognizes the senator from Northern Fairfax County, Senator Howell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 394, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with the substitute.
Chair recognizes again Senator Howell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 397, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary with the substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with the substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Edwards, a gentleman from Roanoke City.
Madam President, I move with the committee, Judiciary Committee substitute.
Would you like to concur or reject, sir?
Oh, yeah. I apologize. I move that we reject, reject the Judiciary Committee substitute and adopt the Finance and Appropriations Committee substitute.
All right, we'll take those one at a time. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall a substitute from the Committee on the Judiciary be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The judiciary substitute is rejected.
Now I move that the substitute of the Committee on Finance and Appropriations be agreed to.
Are you moving that or? All right.
He can move it.
The question is, shall the substitute from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Edwards.
That's it.
We
just moved to the next one.
That's all.
Next.
It's on the uncontested
House Bill
calendar.
434, reported from the Committee on Judiciary with the substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Yeah. Senate House Bill 434. Okay. I move that the Judiciary Committee substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute from the Committee on the Judiciary be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 523, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 565, reported from the Committee on Education and Health with an amendment, and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Lucas, the gentlelady from Portsmouth.
Yes, Madam President, I move that the committee that the committee amendment be agreed to. I'm sorry.
Rejected?
With the recommendation that it be rejected, I move that the committee amendment be agreed to.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee amendments from the Education and Health Committee be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. That amendment is rejected. Chair recognizes Senator Howell, the gentlelady from Northern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the substitute from the Finance and Appropriations be agreed to.
Question is, shall the substitute from Finance and Appropriations be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 649, reported from the Committee on Education and Health with the substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Chair recognizes again Senator Lucas, the gentlelady from Portsmouth.
Madam President, I move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute from Education and Health be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 671, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 740, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Chair recognizes Senator Edwards, the gentleman from Roanoke City.
Madam President, I move that the Committee on Judiciary substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 830, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 831, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 894, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute, and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Chair recognizes Senator Saslaw, the senior senator from Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move that we adopt the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 957, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with an amendment.
Chair again recognizes the senator from Northern Fairfax County, Senator Howell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the amendment be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 993, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary with a substitute, and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Chair recognizes Senator Edwards, the gentleman from Roanoke City.
Madam President, I move that the Committee on Judiciary substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 996, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 1249, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 1254, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Howell, the gentlelady from Northern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1255, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Chair again recognizes gentlelady from Northern Fairfax County.
Thank you again, and I move that the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1263, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Howell, a gentlelady from Northern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1273, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 1297, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 1322, reported for the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 1330, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with an amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator Peterson, the gentleman from Fairfax City.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the committee amendment.
Question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 1332, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 1350, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with a substitute.
Chair recognizes again Senator Peterson, the gentleman from Fairfax City.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the substitute.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1358, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Howell.
Thank you. I move the substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. The question now is, shall the House bills pass en bloc? That is, all bills except for House Bill 315 on page 20. That is all. All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Turning to page 34, regular calendar, House bills on third reading. House Bill 68, voter registration, presumption of domicile, members of uniformed service, and others. Reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
Chair recognizes.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the senator from Portsmouth.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, I move that House Bill 68 be re-referred to the Senate Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Chair recognizes the senior senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove.
Thank you, Madam President. Speak to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, House Bill 68 would allow members of the armed forces and their families to register to vote in the Commonwealth of Virginia. To remind everybody, these are the people who leave their blood and sometimes their lives in far-off, distant lands so that we can vote, so that we can be free, so that we can meet here and do the work of the people. I hope you will not re-refer this bill. It is a good bill. It is a military-friendly bill. We talk about wanting to be the most veteran-friendly state in the Union. This bill will help that. Artificially killing it will not. They pay in their blood, Senator. Yeah. Okay. Again, I would ask that the bill not be re-referred.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the senator from Rockingham County.
Madam President, I would ask the senior senator from Fairfax if he would rise for a question.
Will the senator yield for a question?
Madam President, I ask the senior senator from Fairfax if he just said on the floor of the Senate that these people, in order to be able to vote here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, need to pay taxes just like everybody else. Was that the senator's comment?
You couldn't have heard me better.
I just want to make sure. Thank you.
And also speaking. Okay.
If the gentleman wishes to speak to the motion, the gentleman may do so. For what purpose does the gentleman from Fairfax County rise?
I'll just simply say this. I certainly
For what purpose does the gentleman rise?
To speak to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
I've not gotten any request from anybody in the service for this bill. Maybe some people have. I have not. That's number one. Number two, many of these people have as their official residency Florida and Texas, where there's no income tax. And quite frankly, you know, serving in the military, and I certainly honor those people. I pulled 2 years myself, 19 months in Germany, a lot of it up on that German-Czech border. But let me tell you something. If you, as a former member, Senator Potts used to say, either you're in or you're out. You want to play the game here, pay the taxes here.
The chair recognizes Senator McDougall, the gentleman from Hanover.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, I think that the senator from Fairfax just said it right. You either in or you're out. You ought to vote on the bill, vote for it, or vote against it. Go up on the board. This motion is to prevent a vote on the board for being for it or against it. So be counted. Be in or out. We should debate it. If you don't like it, articulate why you don't like it, and vote. Don't hide behind the motion to refer this to a committee. I'll remind the members of the body, if you look at the calendar for Monday, there are no committees that will meet on Monday on the calendar. None. So this is, in fact, a motion to kill the bill. But we should have the courage, just like our members in the military, to either vote for or against the bill on its merits.
Chair recognizes the junior senator from Chesterfield, Senator Chase.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to also say not to be referred to committee.
To speak to the motion?
Our service members...
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Our service members are permanently stationed in Virginia and cannot register to vote because they maintain home of record where they came from. Federal laws defer to states on who is considered domiciled to vote. Active duty service members who are permanently stationed in Virginia will be considered domiciled for the purposes of voter registration. Registering here disenrolls registration in other states, and this affects about 85,000 service members in Virginia. This is the exact same thing we do for out-of-state college students. Military should at least be given the same status as college students. Thank you, Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Reeves, the gentleman from Spotsylvania.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, I'd like to bring the air in the room down a little bit and see if we can de-escalate where this is going. I just want to read the bill. Regardless of the patron, I just want to read the bill to bring it down, to bring it into perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at Section B, if I may, Madam President, and determine the residence defined in 24.2101 in domicile and place abode, member of a uniformed service who is on active duty with permanent orders stationing him in the Commonwealth if he has established physical presence in a place of abode in the Commonwealth. There shall be a presumption that he has also established domicile in the Commonwealth unless he expressly states otherwise. And it goes on to say the spouse and those others that are on uniformed service on active duty with permanent orders stationing him in the Commonwealth as such spouse or dependent and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not about veterans. This is about another matter. And I'd like to associate my comments with my colleague from Chesapeake. We continuously stand up for those who've worn the cloth. I think there's other ways to address the underlying issue here without bringing it to the forefront. Madam President, I think this is a wrong move and a wrong precedent. I think we need to take an up or down vote.
The question is, shall House Bill 68 be re-referred to the Committee on Finance and Appropriations? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. The chair is uncertain. This will be a recorded vote. All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 18.
Ayes 21, noes 18. The bill is re-referred.
House Bill 49. James River designates an additional portion as a component of Virginia's scenic river system. Reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources.
Madam President, I move that the bill pass. Speak to the motion.
The chair absently recognizes the senator from Fairfax City.
Thank you.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I hope we can get back to the important business of designating scenic rivers. This is the James River, that portion that flows, which I believe through Nelson County, ergo the gentleman from Nelson being the sponsor. I have seen it. It is scenic. There was a little bit of issue with a co-op connection that crossed the river that was carved out of the bill. Frankly, it did no harm, so I would move that we pass the bill. Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 2.
Ayes 36, noes 2. The bill passes.
House Bill 206. Small renewable energy projects, impact on natural resources report.
Chair
reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Peterson, the gentleman from Fairfax City.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill pass and speak to the motion.
The senator has the floor. Wait, you have to take up the substitute. Do you want the substitute?
I move that the substitute pass.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be accepted? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is accepted. Senator Peterson.
Thank you. I apologize, Madam President. Got ahead of myself. Yes. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very complicated bill with some moving parts, which basically roughly pitted two important state priorities. One is creating 16,000 megawatts of solar as demanded by the Virginia Clean Energy Act. And the second is the Chesapeake Bay Act, which requires us to preserve thousands of acres of farmland and undisturbed land without creating additional stormwater runoff. And so how do we reconcile these two goals? Well, HB 206 basically puts in place what's called a PBR, a permit by rule, whereby large solar projects that disturb over 10 acres of prime farmland or 50 acres of forest land will go through a rules process where they have to create mitigation measures to offset the environmental damage. We are going to create the mother of all stakeholder groups at DEQ to kind of put this together, and that's effectively what the bill does. So I hope we will support the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bill passes.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
I'd ask that the Senate stand in recess until 12:50.
Without objection, the Senate is in recess until 12:50. Come back to order. The chair calls on the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I'm going to make a motion that everything that is currently remaining on the calendar, including a couple that went by today, a couple bills, that we pass everything by for the day and resume it on Monday.
The question is, shall all the bills remaining on the calendar, including the bills that were passed by temporarily, go by for the day? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bills remaining on the calendar will now go by for the day.
Okay, can we do them?
Oh, ma'am.
What is that? We have other thing. Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Chair calls on
Madam President.
Chair calls on the senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Thank you, Madam President. Point of personal privilege.
The senator has the floor.
Well, I think the last few moments demonstrate pretty well we're at the time of the year where there gets to be some frustration between the bodies, and we get to hear from senators that are unhappy with the House. But I want to speak today about something that was very disappointing to me here in the Senate. And the way that the Senate is structured, it's a majoritarian body just like any other legislative body. But we have no pretense of proportionality in policy committees here. And that means that if a bill comes before the Education and Health Committee, even though we're actually as close as the Senate can be almost, with one party having 21, but not the Lieutenant Governor, it's still a 9-6 Education Health Committee, and it's pretty challenging to get a bill out there where that you inherently have to get multiple Democratic votes to do it. And it's very disappointing to me that bills that went to that policy committee were not considered in that policy committee. And instead, they were referred to rules. And two bills that were especially disappointing to me was a bill to help the children of veterans, which we heard presented in rules today, and we even heard a senior Democratic member speak favorably for the bill. And then, and this is more disappointing for Virginians listening to it at home, they could hear another senior Democratic member telling them, no, we are to kill this. And that's what was broadcast to Virginians today. And then that member who then voted, who spoke for it, voted in block in a committee that's not 9-6, but even more Democratic dominated, and not Democratic in the lowercase d. And that's disappointing to me. But what's even worse than that was legislation that I had heard in the Health Subcommittee twice, and so did every other member. Twice we had heard it. It was identical when it came out of there to legislation that this body, under the current Democratic majority, had previously passed just this term. That bill was then, instead of being reported out, re-referred, not from the 9-6 committee, but to an even more partisan imbalanced committee, after having a 5-0 recommendation from that health subcommittee, and then it was defeated on a party line vote, near party line vote. But it doesn't matter when you have to get that many votes, and that undercuts the entire system, and events like what happened erode confidence in this body, and I hope that we will not continue down this path, because things change sometimes, and I don't want us to operate that way. Thank you, Madam President.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Madam President. Returning to the morning hour briefly for an introduction.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. There's a family in the gallery who stuck around this whole Friday to listen to all our banter, and he's actually a dear friend of mine. He's a Army combat veteran, Jeff Dove. He's here with his wife, Stephanie Dove, and their daughter, Serenity Dove, to see the combat on the floor here today. And I know you know them, Madam President, as they helped with your campaign, and I'd like you to give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Good. Almost said evening, but good afternoon to you. Thank you for coming to see your Senate, and thank you for seeing all the various arguments and etc. on the floor. It is very interesting at times, as you know, and young lady, one day you too can be here. And so with that, senators, please give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes the senior senator from Chesterfield, Senator Hashmi.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. If the chamber will just indulge me, I rise today to recognize the dedicated and the talented workforce at Virginia Commonwealth University Health System, which, as you know, is based right here in Richmond and serves patients across the Commonwealth and beyond. And even in one of the most difficult times that the healthcare workers have ever faced, VCU Health has not only continued to provide world-class care, including to some of our most vulnerable and at-risk populations, but it's also continued to grow its services and commitment to its mission to serve all Virginians everywhere. And you've probably also noticed that right across the street from our new General Assembly building, the nearly completed Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU Wonder Tower is also present now. Construction on the tower never stopped during COVID, and the project remains on time, which is uncharacteristic these days given our supply chain shortages and other pandemic challenges. So the Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU nurtures the champion in every child. They combine an award-winning clinical care, research, and education with a really particular understanding of what makes our children unique. One of those kids is 4-year-old DJ Brunson, and last year DJ was brought to the hospital where he was diagnosed with multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, or MIS-C. It's a complication of COVID-19, and he had weeks prior contracted COVID but showed no symptoms. MIS-C can impact many parts of the body, including in our children the heart, lungs, brain, and kidneys, and also have profound consequences. Thankfully, DJ's parents brought him straight to the Children's Hospital of Richmond, and he was thankfully treated with great care and has recovered. And so I know that the parents of DJ have expressed that they can't say enough great things about the hospital care team and the staff, the level of professionalism, compassion, and integrity that everyone displayed is unparalleled, is what the parents have shared. So I'm happy to report that DJ is fully recovered from his MIS-C and back to being the spunky little boy that his parents are accustomed to. And I just wanted to applaud the dedicated team at the Children's Hospital for all of their work. Thank you so much, Madam President.
I thank the senator. The chair now recognizes Senator Morrissey, the junior senator from Richmond.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, I listened carefully when the gentleman from Roanoke County talked or lamented the issue of partisan imbalance. And as some of you may know or may not know, I lived in Australia for 3 years in New South Wales, and there's an expression called right back at you, mate. And along those same lines, I would remind the gentleman from Roanoke County that with respect to partisan imbalance, I had a block of bills that went over to House Courts of Justice, CRIM. There was a partisan imbalance there, 5-3, and my bills were summarily killed, all of them 5-3. 2 of those bills came out of this Senate 40-0. criminal justice reform bills that came out of the Senate 40-0, but they were killed summarily. Why? Because they could. And they did it. So I would ask my friend from Roanoke County for those exact same thoughts that he shared with the body today. Perhaps he shared them with the folks on his own side of the aisle. Thank you, Madam President.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Western Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an announcement.
Senator.
Thank you, Madam President. On Monday at 4 o'clock, my wife, who is a member of the Library of Virginia Foundation Board, has helped arrange for a special collections tour. As you know, it's not a museum. It is a library. They don't keep things on display, but they're going to be bringing out some documents that are truly amazing, that go back to our founding, go back to some significant points in our history here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I know on one special collections tour, she was able to look at the notebook of Patrick Henry and see his comments on some of our earlier documents in his own hand. It's a remarkable experience. 4 o'clock, if you'd like to go, give me a holler, and we'll get you signed up for the tour. It'll be right across the street at the Library of Virginia. Thank you, Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Norman, the gentleman from James City County.
Point of personal privilege, Madam President.
The senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've enjoyed the eloquence and the edification. Do you realize that we were trying to adjourn so that the senators, both Republicans and Democrats, would try to protect their bills that are being summarily killed without presentation in the House Appropriations Committee, which continues to meet?
The clerk will now report any announcements on the desk.
Monday, March the 7th, the Committee on the Judiciary will not meet. The Committee on Local Government will not meet. The Democratic Caucus will meet 1/2 hour before session in Senate Room 1 in the Capitol. The Republican Caucus will meet 1/2 hour before session in Senate Room 2. Mileage reimbursement forms are on your desk and may be turned in to Nathan here at the front desk. This is Nathan. That's Michael. Weekend weather report. Friday, mostly sunny and cool. Sunday, partly sunny, breezy, warm, and in the upper 70s. Have a great weekend. House Appropriations is meeting right now.
Chair calls on the senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 11 a.m. on Monday.
The question is, shall the Senate adjourn until 11 a.m. on Monday? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 11 a.m. Monday.